Hey, this is Les from the TV Dudes. This year, as part of our coverage of ATX Television Festival Season 8, I was lucky enough to sit down and chat with actress and producer Michelle Lang about the upcoming show Everyone is Doing Great. We spoke last year, and it was great to catch up about her production company, the joy of taking on various roles in the world of storytelling, and more. Hope you enjoy. Hi, this is Les from the TV Dudes, and I am lucky enough today to sit down with Michelle Lang, who is here about Everyone is Doing Great, which we spoke last year about the project, and it's come a long way. I was just talking to Knock about having more episodes produced now and in post. Your role has changed slightly with the production, has it not, in the last year? Did you go from producing to being now in it more?
Yeah, so, my role with the show was always executive producing, to come on to help James and Steven get their vision to life. The thing that's changed, which is really exciting, is my production company called Rebel Studios, which is a subsidiary of my company, which is called Relaxation Based Lifestyle, but it's spelled RBL. And so my company is on as one of the production companies, and then yes, I have a reoccurring role as Elizabeth Mitchell in the show.
And can you talk a little bit about what producing means on an independent project like this? I have a sense sometimes of what it means when you've got a whole Warner Brothers produces something, but there has to be a little bit different scramble to this. Can you talk a bit about your role?
Sure. So with independent films and television shows, I have a lot of hands in a lot of different places. So it's starting with the scripts, being able to do the creative and talk about characters and stories, and then we move into the hiring of the crew, and I have a lot of hand in the casting as far as helping them find people that they think would be great for the roles. And then I take it all the way through in production, helping with schedule, helping with Rebel Studios does the line producing for it, so being able to get all the nuts and bolts in place, and all the way through now we're in post-production. So with the smaller projects, it's great because you get to really dig into a lot of different areas, because you don't have, you don't have 500 people doing every little job. It's great. You really get to dig in.
In terms of acting in front of the screen, I still picture you with the giant hair from Small Town Crime. Can you talk a bit about what's the most satisfying or maybe surprisingly satisfying feeling that you get from acting versus what have you found most satisfying about producing?
So the two differences, acting I feel like I do for me. Like it's just, I have a lot of fun exploring characters and channeling emotions and connecting in that way. I feel like I get that same joy through producing, but connecting by helping people achieve their vision. So it's more I do for other people, and that brings me joy more than anything else. But I think it's all the same as far as, bringing a vision to life. It's just on the producing, I help it from a non-emotional aspect almost, like the nuts and bolts of it, and from an acting perspective, I get to help the emotional journey of it.
Have you had a favorite happy accident that's happened in producing this show and producing Everybody?
Happy accident. I feel like I always joke that producers like your sinuses, you only know they're there when they get effed up. So the happy accidents happen all the time. My job is to really make sure that no one else feels that.
It looks totally planned.
Totally planned, totally normal.
A minute to rain today, that's exactly how the shot ought to be.
That's how it's going to be. Or, oh great, now we can have this other location that we couldn't get because it's a different day. So I think a lot of that is just being flexible and being able to ebb and flow with it, which quite frankly is exactly what acting is. When you get into that scene, it's maybe not going to go exactly how you thought it was going to go, but if you're so tense and trying to control the scene and what you think it should be, it's not going to be good. So a lot of what my company does too is just about how do we take these moments and just live within the moment and create a connection through accepting whatever it is, whether it's a bump in the road or whether it's something amazing. All those channel in to make it what it is, which is going to be the best if you don't spend so much energy trying to block out whatever's happening.
I know putting together an actual company doesn't always involve the same joyously fun steps as exploring a character or whatever. Like, there's real rubber meet the road paperwork to do and boring bits. What's kept your excitement going to push through that? How do you press through some of the down weeks of trying to set up something like that?
It was a long road with Rebel. The idea started years ago, and I actually started the company a year ago, and I didn't launch till this year, so it did take me a year to kind of get through all those nuts and bolts. But what I really like about it is being able to talk to people like Na, who has helped with Everyone's Doing Great, and formulate what it stands for and what's the through line. Because the company has Rebel Studios did Everyone's Doing Great, but it also has a publishing arm. So Rebel Publishing just put out their first book called The Mermaid's Guide, Empower Your Child in Water and in Life. So it has different kind of compartments to it. But what I love is formulating what is the through line to all of this. And even when I'm doing the boring paperwork, I honestly just really love to discover how to do stuff. And then eventually later, one of the books will be like, here's how to break this down so you can do it. Like, I like learning stuff, and just that ability to be able to be like, to me, it's like a treasure hunt. I was always loved school because I love solving problems and I love to try and figure them out. So I think that helps a lot. And anyone who's trying to produce something, you have all of the tools. With the internet, if you don't know something, you can look it up now, which is incredible. You don't have to know it from a book, like School Smarts. You can really discover it. So I like that journey. I like digging in and trying to figure stuff out, even something as simple as like how to change an LLC to a corporation, which I actually couldn't find online. So anyway, if anyone needs to know that, just contact me at the Michelle Lang. I will tell you how to do it.
Yeah, someone told me just yesterday that in their contract negotiation course at whatever aspect of film school they were in, they studied the Fraser contract negotiations, and I was like, it was a whole rabbit hole of craziness that I'd never heard before, and all of these just nuts things that Kelsey Grammer had done. And I mean, not nuts. They're looking back on them, they're kind of ingenious, but it's an inside baseball that I understand might be boring to some people, but there's just something, I don't know, entertaining to me or interesting to me about any sufficient level of intricacy or curiosity. Learning about almost anything to a certain degree is interesting for a while. The fest this year on their podcast, the fest organizers for ATX Fest took several meetings so that they did some of the fest organizing on mic. And it's super neat to hear because they've been doing this for 8 years, and you still hear them stress about, well, we want to do this, but the money's not there, but we ought to do this. And it's, like I said, it's just interesting you can go online and find out. You can hear people doing these things now where you used to have to fly across the country to college. Yeah,
I have for Rebel. So if you go to @B_A_RBL, so Be a Rebel, some of the stuff that's going to come out there is behind the scenes. Because so much of it, people see the front picture, the glitz and the glam of it, but a lot of it is just a discussion between my husband, Ian Nelms, who wrote and directs Small Town Crime and who works with me on Rebel on a lot of the projects. Like, a lot of the conversations behind the scenes, or here's a challenge, we have to try and figure this one out, or, oh, this project didn't go the way we quote unquote thought, but oh, look how much better it turned out, So I think that's cool to pull back the curtain, and that's one of the things I love about it, is like being able to pull back the curtain so other people are empowered and say, oh, well, she did it. I could start my own company, and I don't have to just do one thing. And I think that's one of the big things I like is I got told, you can only do one thing well a lot, and I don't think that's true at all. I think you can do everything well as long as you're being the best you can be wherever you are. So I dabble in a lot of areas, and that's great. Go explore the world and then figure out what the through line is. Like, what do you like about all these different things?
Yeah, if you're authentically you and interested in it, it's going to come through. I mean, this is how people shift from acting to music to, Donald Glover should stay in his lane. Really? No. He can do whatever he wants. You can do whatever you want.
Right. Yeah, you can keep, and you'll change as you grow, I just like to discover new things, like I love the book that came out, A Mermaid's Guide. Like, I love trying to figure out the publishing world. I'm like, okay, let's dig into that. It's all the same. It's just exploring, discovery, and also the patience to know that when you go into something, it's not going to be fast. Like, give yourself the grace of time to say, I am going to figure this out. It might take me, the book I've been working on the past 4 years really hard to write it and to get through, but then it took me about a year to figure out. the back end of how to get a book out there and to hire a publicist and to get it, so it's like there is no quick fix. It's all about the journey as you go. It's not about having done or the outcome. It's about the doing of what you're doing and to enjoy and like float through that journey, because that's really everything. It doesn't matter really what happens with it. If you're enjoying what you're doing in the moment, like that's everything.
Don't sweat the results so much as the process.
Right, and the process should be great. And not every aspect, but overall, if you're doing something that makes you miserable on a daily basis and you come home and you're tired and you're like, I gotta just sit on the couch and like, try and survive till the next day. I've done those jobs, and sometimes you have to do those, but you can also look forward and strive and say, hey, here's what my goal is. What is this small nugget of something that I can do right now, today? Because we can all do it in some small way. We can start whatever that is, whether it's writing a book or writing a script. You don't need anyone else right now that is going to lead you to be able to get out of that job that is paying the bills, right? Like expand.
Thank you so much for taking out time this morning. I really loved talking to you all last year and was thrilled y'all were going to be back. It's like I've got to get an interview with them again.
I love it. Thank you so much.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Electric Sweater Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener-supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter @TV Dudes. All the music for our show is by our friend and original TV dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and electricsweater.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.